this is an opinion piece. This is my thoughts on the TONEX ONE. Okay, it's not a video that's sponsored. I'm not paid by it. I'm not one of these creators who, there's been a lot of creators who have had TONEXs given to them, or the TONEX ONEs given to them. They've had 2 of them given to them. They've done all sorts of demos, and they're extolling the virtues and saying how amazing these things are. Yeah, I do think it's a great product, but I'm going to give my opinions on it as somebody who uses TONEX and uses TONEX Live all of the time. I'm going to tell you what I think of the TONEX ONE. Now, it's got a lot of great features, a lot of great ways to use it. It's got some amazing stuff, but this is why I am not going to buy it. So let's think about what it does and what it's for. If you watch some of the other videos, you'll know it does 2 things basically. It switches between an A/B mode, so you can have 2 captures. And I'm not going to talk about the captures because they're amazing. I use the same ones all the time. I use about 4 or 5 of them. But the captures, it switches between them, so you can have 2 of them at once, or you can have 1 and turn it on and off. So if you're using 2 at once, you've effectively got like an old school 2-channel amp that you bang at the end of your pedal board, which is great. And if you're grizzled and old like I am, then you've probably brought up on using a 2-channel amp. So you have one set for a crunch sound, and you have a lead sound that's louder and gainier. And then if you want it clean, you just go to your clean sound or your crunch sound and you turn your volume down, and that's your clean sound. Or the other way of doing it, which will work great with the TONEX, with the TONEX ONE, would be to use a drive pedal with it as well. So you set your clean-ish channel, as clean as you can call it, as well, just enough clean to get you there. You might set it so when you're on a humbucker, you've got a little bit of gain, you call it your single coils, and it goes properly clean. And then you have a drive pedal, and the drive pedal gives you a full-on crunch channel. Then you set your lead channel to be a crunchy but louder lead, and you can leave your drive pedal on so you get your full hair. Well, I'm saying hair. And you use it like that, and it's a great way to do it, and it's a way people have used amps for a long, long time. Okay. The other use of the TONEX ONE is, oh, there's a tiny girl with an enormous bass. The other way you use a TONEX ONE is to use it as a single stomp pedal. Now here's the first thing that I think is not great and not really worthwhile. Yes, it'll do a great job and it can hold 20 pedals, but to switch between them, you've got to bend down and turn a dial, and you've got no indication really of which one is which. So finding pedal 12 or 13 in the middle of 20 is going to be tricky, especially at a gig and between songs. That's not going to happen. So what you have to do is use one pedal in it and turn it on and off. Now, the TONEX ONE is 180 quid to have one drive pedal at a time. For that kind of price, you might as well just buy the drive pedal. You could buy 2 or 3 drive pedals and have some change. Okay, it's only going to come into its own in that context if you've got a really, really expensive drive pedal that you're trying to reproduce, or a chain of them. But let's think about this. If you've got a chain of drive pedals on a TONEX ONE that you can turn on and off, you turn them all on and off together, and it might sound great. And then what you do normally is you turn them off in sequence, so you have 2 on, or 1 on, or 3 on. But with the TONEX ONE, you only have either all 3 of them on, or however many you've got, or none of them. Well, then that's a bit self-defeating anyway, because you might as well just have one drive, and if you want a bit less gain, you do what we did in the old days, and you just turn your volume pot down a bit. That's all you need to do. But yes, it will do a good job. If you've got something like a clon that you've managed to get a capture of, yes, it's a bargain in that case, because you've got a clon for 180 quid as opposed to 1,080 quid or more, whatever they are now. These things are going up in price faster than Nvidia is at the minute. So, you know. The other thing I think it's brilliant for, now this is the one, if you are a bass player, I think that's the ultimate bass rig, because you've got, how many bass players use a million sounds? They don't. They use a sound most of the night, especially a rock player, and then you might want something a bit different for a bit of slappy, or you might want a compressor on it. Well, you can set it up with 2 sounds. One's your bass sound, one's your bass sound with compression, or one's your bass sound with a bit of compression and an EQ for your slap bass. And it's tiny. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, for a bass player, I think it's the ultimate DI because it's that big. It runs off USB power. So think about this, as a bass player, okay, what you could do, you could run a TONEX ONE on USB power from a power bank, okay? So the TONEX ONE is that big. You can buy a power bank about the same size. So you get TONEX ONE, your power bank, and then you got a plug-in wireless, just one of those little tiny plug things. Plug that in, and all of that will fit on your guitar strap. As a bass player, whole rig on your guitar strap and wireless. So you could go to your gig on the bus, plug one end of your wireless into the mixing desk, turn it all on, and you're good. That's it. That's amazing. At home, it's a great little pedal. Your biggest problem at home and using it on a desk is because it's an audio interface as well, which is mind-blowing. It's that big and it's great, but your biggest problem is the fact that it's so little and light that your lead is going to pull it off the desk all the time. It's so little and light, you're going to have to tape the bloody thing down. Here's why I'm not going to buy one though. It does 20 captures and I use about 4 or 5. Okay, so capture wise it's got enough, but what it doesn't do, the one thing it doesn't do is MIDI. Now my setup is a multi-effect unit. I don't use individual pedals, I use a multi-effects, and I've got my TONEX, my big TONEX in the loop. My big TONEX takes up TONEX size space, but I never ever touch it. I don't do anything with it. It never gets touched, and it just sits there out of the way of my board, and it's all controlled by a multi-effect unit, and it works really, really well. For me, I can't do that with TONEX ONE unless I start using other drives to give me my levels and doing other things with it. I could probably get away with it, but not quite as flexible as the full TONEX is. So for me, that's the thing. If that TONEX ONE just had MIDI control and I could switch between those presets, that would be an absolute no-brainer. That will go straight on my board. I'd buy that tomorrow. I'd get rid of my big TONEX, and that'd be me done. But that's probably why it doesn't have MIDI, so that people like me have to buy the full version. You can buy 2 of the TONEX ONEs for nearly the same price as you buy the full version. The only difference is you can have both of them on at once. But then, you know what? If you're going to have 2 TONEXes and you're going to have 2 of them on at once, you might as well have put that into one capture and put it in your regular TONEX, where you can have 3 buttons and switch between 3 of them without a gap. So for me, yes, the TONEX ONE is a brilliant piece of kit. It does some amazing things. It can go on the end of your pedal board. It can replace your amp. It can be the ultimate, in turning up to a gig with very, very little kit. You could go to a gig with, well, again, with just that power bank and a wireless setup, and you're good. That's all you're going to need. And you can get through most gigs like that. If you want to do a little bit more, yes, you're going to have to add to it. And yeah, it's an amazing bit of kit, and it's giving you captures for, what, 180 quid? I don't know what that is in dollars, but it's not very much at all. And you're using captures. It's like the quality of a Kemper for next to nothing for the price of a good pedal. So to me, it's, yes, for most people, it's a no-brainer. But if you want to use the multi-effects and switch via MIDI, then it's nearly there, but just not quite. So I'm not going to buy it just because it doesn't have MIDI. If it had MIDI, I'd just buy it, and I'd probably buy 2 and have one that I could have on my desk at home to practice with, and another one on my live board that I take with me, and it would take up no space, and I can make my board smaller. That would be the advantage to me. But as it stands, for me, I've got to keep my big TONEX because I need that MIDI thing. But oh man, what a great product. Killer floor, no MIDI. IK Multimedia, please add some MIDI to it. That would be amazing, because it sounds great. I use 4 or 5 captures. I use a 1971 Plexi that I found on ToneNet that's just killer. I've got some matchless things that I got from the Studio Rats that I just love. I never thought I'd like a matchless because it's based on an AC30, and I hate AC30s, I really do. But this matchless thing just blew my mind. So well done, Studio Rats lads. And the thing I would love to try is the all the boogie stuff. I love a boogie, so that's my next temptation. IK Multimedia, if you like my videos, send me them. I love them. But in the meantime, if you like the video, if you've got some thoughts on it as well, then let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. There'll be more videos, and I've got a few other TONEX ones. But I'm signing off. I'm at the supermarket now. I'm going to get some bread, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.